Everyone was shocked by the crime committed by this 14-year-old TikTok star. But what drove her to do it? Born into a prosperous family in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, Claire began her journey in life as a bright son surrounded by loving parents, Mark and Marie. However, fate took a different turn after their move to the cozy town of Mannheim. When their first daughter came into the world, the family felt that their happiness had significantly strengthened. But beneath this light, a shadow loomed over Claire's older sister, Helen. The diagnosis of cerebral palsy became an incredible challenge, and Helen spent most of her life in a wheelchair. Initially, it seemed like the family was handling everything that fate threw at them. However, their idyllic life began to unravel. What is the secret that made Claire disrupt the harmony and plunge into the dark waters of crime? What drove this girl on the path of social life to such a shocking act? The answers to these questions are hidden deep in the past. Behind the scenes of a private school in Lancaster, Claire, accompanied by her older sister, lived a life full of secrets and unknown dimensions. After finishing the school day, she transformed her room into a mysterious space where exceptional moments unfolded, captured in videos, and sent to the virtual world of TikTok. In this digital corner, Claire revealed her world through a series of dances in front of the camera and mimicry, creating an impressive whirlwind of unconditional joy. But her creativity did not stop there. She skillfully incorporated videos into her account, where she and her father built funny caricature expressions, played the guitar, and performed songs. However, the brightest chapter of her art became scenes from Mannheim, so precious to her. In the characters of animated films, Claire found her solitude, creating invisible connections with her father. But his perception of these little dramas seemed to take on a shade of misunderstanding. Her father's gaze, clouded by a hint of foolishness, introduced an unexpected element of mystery into this virtual theater, perhaps foreshadowing something deeper and more exciting in their family dynamics. In one of the mysterious moments of her creativity, she decides to lift the veil of the story, leaving in the traces of her words an uneasy imprint of her relationship with her father. In a post filled with emotional tension, she implores her father to stop labeling her videos as Japanese borscht, but her plea is lost in the indifference of paternal misunderstanding. Nevertheless, not all videos, filtered through the lens of her creative inspiration, were harmless and serene. On her account, there were dark, sometimes eerie videos that, like ghosts in the night, disappeared into the abyss after her TikTok account was blocked. On the mysterious night of February 21, she posted a video on her TikTok page, saturated with an atmosphere of undefined horror. Her hands, immersed in blood, served as a gruesome accompaniment to the white snow around her. On that very night, she committed a sinister crime, destroying her sister. Desperate to avoid detection, she used the snow, attempting to cover the traces of her dark deed. The girl, apparently, was in a state of hysteria. Despite the blocking of her TikTok account, desperate users managed to save several mysterious videos and spread them on their own pages. In one of these videos, the peak of a mystical nightmare is revealed: a blood-soaked latex glove and a plush giraffe enveloped in a bloody aura. It is difficult to determine whether she was the author of these strange scenes, adding an additional dose of horror to the mysterious actions of this enigmatic personality. In the context of what happened, it is important to note that the sister had incredible fragility, depriving her even of the ability to effectively resist and scream for help. The tragedy unfolded rapidly, and minutes after the act was completed, she emerged from the room, immersed in silence. Precisely at 1:08 a.m., she dialed the emergency 911, tearfully informing the dispatcher about the committed crime. The police promptly arrived within 5 minutes, finding her waiting on the street. "I destroyed my sister," she said with tears in her eyes. At the beginning of the investigation, the police assumed that Helen became a random victim of an accident or incident. However, attentive officers could not help but notice that Claire's t-shirt and pajama pants were soaked in blood. The red traces in the snow at the entrance to the house indicated that she tried to get rid of the blood on her hands. Where were the girl's parents, and why did they allow this to happen? When Claire detailed the location of Helen's body in her bed to the police, they entered the house. At that time, Mark and Marie Miller were sleeping soundly, completely unaware of what had happened just a few meters away from them. Woken up by the knocks of the police, the Miller parents awoke to a nightmarish reality, learning that their eldest daughter was no longer alive. Officers, futilely attempting to revive Helen, were forced to acknowledge their helplessness in the face of the merciless fate. At 4:13 a.m., the darkness enveloping their home confirmed the horrifying reality. Helen was no longer among the living. The same day marked the beginning of the criminal proceedings for Claire Miller. She was arrested and charged with the crime. Under the laws of the state of Pennsylvania, she was to be tried as an adult. On April 16, 2021, Claire appeared before the Lancaster County Court via video link from the prison in Mannheim. Her lawyer, Robert Bayer, informed the judge that Claire did not want to waste time on preliminary hearings, expediting the process. However, on May 14, she was charged unexpectedly. Claire refused to admit guilt, delaying the course of the case. Her lawyer demanded hearings for the reclassification of the case as committed by a minor and requested a psychiatric evaluation of Claire's mental health. Returning to the events of February, a mourning atmosphere pervaded the town, but even the somber expressions of condolences could not compare to what Mark and Marie Miller, parents deprived of both their daughters in one night, were experiencing. During the continuation of the legal proceedings that could determine her freedom or possibly a lifetime imprisonment, Claire Miller remained under constant public scrutiny. A series of medical examinations revealed severe depression and a psychotic disorder in the teenager, serving as grounds for her referral to treatment in a specialized institution. After a year of intensive therapy, Miller's health noticeably improved, and doctors reported significant changes in her mental condition. The legal process resumed its course. Finally, on March 10, 2023, Claire Miller was found guilty of the committed crime and sentenced to 40 years in prison, with the possibility of parole after serving 12.5 years. Thus, she now faces the prospect of being released in 2035 when she turns 28. Despite the tragedy, the legal outcome leaves a door open for Claire's potential return to society after completing her sentence.